All right. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
This is like an exciting day. Good morning, everyone. That's more like it. Thank you all for joining us today as we celebrate a significant milestone in solidifying the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, commonly known to all of us as MIMA, into law in Baltimore City. I just want to start by acknowledging everyone who has joined us this morning. Councilwoman Ramos, who sponsored this legislation alongside the administration. Councilman Chris Burnett, did a switcheroo on me. Councilman Chris Burnett for being here. Members of the Baltimore City Hispanic Commission, and all of the advocates and community members who helped ensure that this day would become a reality. And also, of course, even though she didn't put that in my notes, Director Rodriguez Lima for all of her leadership of all these many years. Today we are here to sign Bill 23-0438, which will formally codify the existence of the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, ensuring that their work of supporting commuting and enhancing services for Baltimore's immigrant communities will continue no matter who is in office. And we know that's even more critically important when what you see happening at the national level right now. For years, MIMA has been instrumental in providing essential information, advocacy, and support to our immigrant population. This bill secures its future and guarantees that services remain available and are effective. Our immigrant population contributes greatly to the cultural, economic, and social fabric of our community. This office will provide essential resources and support to ensure that all immigrants feel welcome and are valued. We are grateful that with the partnership of the City Council, support from the advocates, and the input from community members, that this truly was a collective effort demonstrating what we can achieve when we work together. MIMA will continue its mission of promoting the economic growth, community well-being, and integration of new Americans in our city. This legislation will also enhance its ability to support our city agencies to overcome language barriers when serving our community. MIMA does an amazing amount of work, much of it happening behind the scenes and without much notice or any fanfare. I think that was perfectly evidenced these past few months following the tragic collapse of the Key Bridge, where MIMA stepped up to do an enormous amount of work ensuring that the families of those who lost individuals in that tragedy were taken care of, coordinating efforts between government and all levels and helping to ensure the needs of those families was always at the top of the priority list. Their work there was outstanding, and I ask that we all give them a big round of applause for that work. Our vision for MIMA is to be able to continue their critical work, building a welcoming, supportive community where immigrants can thrive and contribute as they already do. This legislation marks a significant step towards that goal. I encourage everyone to remain engaged and support MIMA. Together, we can create an even more inclusive and vibrant city. And before I turn it over to Councilwoman Ramos, we do have a bit of a surprise. Catalina, sorry, we got you. We have a special citation to honor your work that I'm going to pull up from right here. You thought this was for MIMA? No, it's for you. Go. All right. This is a City of Baltimore mayoral salute. On behalf of the citizens of Baltimore, I am pleased to salute Catalina Rodriguez Lima in recognition of 17 years. We've been here 17 years. Can you believe that? Of exceptional service to the City of Baltimore, including 10 years of service as the Director of the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs. As we gather to celebrate the signing of Bill 23-0438 for the purpose of establishing the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, we must acknowledge your tireless advocacy and leadership, beginning with the establishment of the new Americans Task Force, whose recommendation resulted in the creation of MIMA. Since 2014, MIMA has worked to promote community well-being economic development, and the integration of immigrant communities by identifying needs and opportunities that immigrants bring to our city, while developing public-private partnerships to strengthen the development of these communities. You have led innovative initiatives such as establishing Safe City for critical legal deportation defense, bringing the Latino Economic Development Center to Baltimore to support immigrant business owners, forming the new Baltimore New American Access Coalition to assist families recovering from the impact of COVID, and establishing the Baltimore Community Immigration Fund. Your efforts have made Baltimore a national leader in welcoming immigrants, refugees, and our new American population over the last decade. On behalf of the people of Baltimore, I congratulate you on this momentous occasion. Signed by me, Mayor Brandon Scott. Congratulations. We got you good. And with that, I'll turn it over to Councilwoman Ramos. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Congratulations, and thank you for your amazing work. Let me just, hola, ¿qué tal? It's great to see everybody here. First of all, I want to thank you all for all of your work that you have been doing for our community. And I also want to thank my colleague Chris Burnett and the City Council. We voted this bill unanimously, because we're seeing in all of our communities, the growth in our communities is because people are coming here from all over the place because they see the promise in Baltimore, just like we do. And this bill and this codification of this office sends a very clear message that everybody, no matter where you're from or language you speak or who you are welcome here in Baltimore City. So this office has been around for 10 years already, a little more, and has already had so many accomplishments, as the mayor talked about, really making sure that our Latino population and immigrant population are cared for during COVID, making sure that when the bridge collapsed, the families were taken care of, making sure that all of our anybody who speaks a different language still has access to city services, because this city government works for everyone. And so there's a lot more work that we have to do there, and that's one of the emphasis that the office will continue to do. So it was my honor to be able to sponsor this bill and work with all of you, work with the mayor and the council to get this done, because this is a momentous occasion in our city. It is important for us that we recognize that people are coming, and we have to be ready. And this office will continue the work that they're doing in order for us to be ready. Again, another example is in our school system, 20% of the students in our public school system are Latino, okay? That number is growing. The number of languages spoken in our schools is growing. We are acknowledging today that the immigrant community, people coming to Baltimore, are so important, and we want to be ready. So thank you all. Thank you, Catalina, for everything you're doing. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilman Burnett, and thank you all for continuing to do the great work that you're doing, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Well, I want to start by thanking you, Mayor, for your support over the years and for your support in making this legislation happen. And thank you for this salute. As a planner, I was truly surprised. So thank you very much. Thank you, Councilwoman Ramos, for all of your support and for introducing this legislation and making this office permanent. It's very critical for us. And Councilman Burnett, thank you for your support in language access. I am really grateful for you, and please know that you have a special place in my heart for that. I also want to thank the partners for your support over the years. MIMA's work would not be possible without the contributions of deeply engaged community stakeholders inside and outside of the city. Please know that I am greatly honored and grateful to be able to get to work with you every single day. I also want to take a minute to thank the MIMA staff, small but mighty. Raise your hand. The work that comes out of our office is the product of very dedicated public servants who really care about this work and the constituencies that we serve. MIMA was established through tireless advocacy of dedicated partners who believe in more than just symbolic gestures, right? That the work on immigrant integration needed to go beyond the messaging, the one person who was gonna task deep-rooted systems that were not designed for us, right? We envision a city where immigrants were fully integrated into the fabric of our city. This requires influencing systems that were not originally designed for our diverse populations. 10 years later, MIMA stands as a testament of that vision. We partner with countless organizations and individuals to ensure the well-being of all residents, regardless of nationality, language proficiency, or immigration status, from assisting immigrant families access public benefits to providing technical assistance to city agencies to make sure that our families are served. MIMA has been a constant and unwavering ally. The road since MIMA establishment has not been without challenges. We face one of the most anti-immigrant presidents in modern history, navigated through multiple local government transitions. In fact, Mayor Scott is the first mayor that I get to serve for a full term as director. And endure a global pandemic that disproportionately impacted our limited English proficient and undocumented population. Despite these obstacles, the resilience of our communities and our partners has prevailed, and their determination continues to guide our path forward. The work of immigrant integration cannot be accomplished by government alone. The COVID-19 pandemic and even the recent Key Bridge collapse taught us that trusted community partners are essential in ensuring that immigrants are served properly. MIMA is a piece of a larger puzzle, in many cases acting as an institutional glue that binds our efforts together. We coordinate and maximize resources to ensure delivery of necessary and timely services to city residents. As we move forward, MIMA will continue to be a beacon of hope and support, serving as a hub for technical assistance, immigrant engagement, information dissemination, and advocacy, benefiting both our immigrant residents, but also the greater community. Finally, I want to emphasize this last piece. Today's legislation ensures that MIMA's mission will endure for years to come. However, its success depends on all of us in this room. We must remain vigilant and proactive, ensuring that MIMA remains an important component of our local government. As advocates, service providers, and partners, your roles are crucial in holding local government accountable and ensuring that immigrants are prioritized. Together, all of us here, we are MIMA. And together, we will continue to make Baltimore a welcoming city. Thank you. I want to call Juliana.
Buenos dias. Oh, we can do better, Baltimore. Good morning. My name is Juliana Valencia Banks. Mr. Mayor, thank you for having me here. Councilman Brunette, Councilwoman Ramos. I work for Baltimore County. I'm so used to saying men. It is a truly historic day in Baltimore today. We are codifying an office that has not only created a welcoming space in our city, but has created a supportive, loving, and empowering group of service providers. I look across this room and I'm throwing away my talking points because they're just talking points, right? As a proud immigrant from Peru, a 16-year resident of Baltimore City, and a proud member of the Mayor's Hispanic Commission, this work is not work. It is a passion for creating a city that looks like this room, but not only looks like this room, but is a room full of empowered, intelligent, hardworking people that have chosen this city as their home. and with the support of the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, has been able to thrive. This work is data-driven, and it is built on partnerships and collaborations. From 2017, when MIMA partnered with Open Society to create Safe Cities Baltimore, that allowed for countless immigrant families to stay together, provided valuable information so that immigrants knew their rights. In a time when we were made to feel unsafe in our own homes, MIMA was there. MIMA educated, empowered, and supported the countless immigrant-serving nonprofits to save families so that they could stay together. In the middle of the pandemic, when folks with limited English proficiency had nowhere to turn, where information wasn't available that was linguistically available, that was culturally competent, MIMA was there. MIMA saved lives with the insane hours that its staff worked. As a former service provider and somebody that has watched these programs from a first-person perspective, overseeing many of these programs created by MIMA, I can tell you they saved lives. And as Baltimore County's Chief of Immigrant Affairs, every day I look at MIMA and say, how do we take the county there? How do we continue to make programs that not only empower our residents, but create safety? How do we create our future leaders? And MIMA is doing that every year with NALI, the New Americans Leadership Institute. It's empowering and it's encouraging our young immigrants to be the future leaders, because I know in 10 years, this council is gonna be full of NALI graduates. And as the mayor mentioned, most recently in the tragic collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge, Catalina immediately mobilized the team at MIMA so that we could provide and work together across jurisdictions with trusted community partners, support for these families. Also, it did the hard work of fundraising and making sure that while we acknowledge that money will never bring back those fallen men, money will keep lights on, will keep mortgages paid, will keep food on the table. MIMA does this with trusted partnerships and allies. MIMA's approach to doing this work is not only for the community, for the well-being, but it is sustainable, and it is something that we can continue to scale and sustain as long as we have the partnership of the administrations, that we have city agencies that are willing to work hard, and partners. Because Baltimore, we can do better and we should do better. MIMA has done a lot. Don't exactly know how the MIMA staff does it, but they do it and they make it look easy. But we need to do more, because Baltimore, when our immigrant communities thrive, we thrive. We are a stronger and richer city because of our diversity. We are a stronger and richer nation because of our immigrant communities. What gets lost when we talk about immigrants is how much we love this country, how much we are willing to work, how much we are willing to sacrifice. So today I challenge each one of you to join us as we do more, as we fundraise, as we build partnerships, as we create new programs, because as long as Baltimore is going to be a welcoming city, we will need to have welcoming programs, and those programs don't come from talking points, they don't come from campaign speeches, they come when we sit at the table, we work together, and we find creative solutions, which is what MIMA has done for the last 12 years. Thank you so much for everything that you all are doing. Have a great day.
Next, we will hear from a former neighbor of mine and someone that I've known for a long time. I just had a Facebook memory on Saturday that reminded me that 12 years ago he challenged me to a basketball game and he regretted it ever since. But we are grateful that he is such a much better advocate for our immigrant and refugee community than he is a basketball player, Mr. Gary Amy.
Well, you know, when you're the mayor, you just can't you can say whatever you want. So I'm not going to disagree with the mayor. So, well, I like to start off by saying greetings for all the languages I've learned throughout the years doing immigrant work. Namaste, assalamu alaikum, ni hao, shalom, bonjour, kijonuye, and buenos dias. Well, as some of you may not know, my name is Gary Amy. I am the executive director of Comité IT. And Comité means committee, IT, which is the Haiti's name. We are a registered nonprofit right here in Baltimore City, and our goal is to connect the community, the Caribbean community, the Haitian community, to resources and cultural events throughout the city. We forge alliances with many organizations throughout the city that share our interests. But our focus has always been on education. That brings us to why I'm here, to support this codification of this bill, sponsored by Councilwoman Odette Ramos, supported by our great friend here, Councilman Burnett, and of course, ex-current friend, mayor, basketball player who pushed me around, our great mayor, Brendan Scott. Thank you, sir. I want to emphasize the role that MIA has lived on in immigrants' lives throughout the city. MIMA is not just policies and procedures. It serves as a cornerstone to support inclusion in immigrant communities. First, MIMA ensures that all services throughout the city, all residents, regardless of your background, is supported by, from economics and well-being and education, as Catalina always talked about. Thank you for your support. These initiatives are designed to break down barriers that will provide a pathway for all immigrants and locals to thrive. Secondly, as a Haitian organization, we pull from MIMA's services, especially through our community engagement. Lastly, I would like to, based on the relationship MIMA has provided the immigrant community, we understand that MIMA will continue to advocate for all immigrant representation. But what I also want to emphasize is that the work that we're doing, we also need to reach out to the local community, because without the local community, the immigrant community will not be thrive. So I challenge all of us, the Black American community, which I belong into as well, they are crying for us to reach out to them as well. So let's do a good job to reach out to the local community. I can give you an example how MIMA has been instrumental in guiding our organization throughout the challenge, especially of COVID. They provide crucial support. And I think Joanne talked about language access, and thank you again, Councilman Burnett. The Haitian community, the French community, as you all know, that language is a big issue for them. It's valuable. So that services that MIMA provided, it dispelled misinformation throughout the African diaspora community. In conclusion, MIMA's commitment to inclusion and support for immigrants is not just a matter of policy, it reflects a shared value and inspiration. Codifying this bill allows MIMA to build a stronger, more resilient community. Wherever you are, wherever your background is, you have the opportunity to succeed in Baltimore City. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Councilman Odette. Thank you, MIMA. And thank you all the staff of MIMA. And thank you for all of you. Merci beaucoup, and have a wonderful morning.
All right. Lastly, before we sign the bill, and definitely not least, we will hear from our student, Razia, is a member of what I call the generation that is the greatest resource for Baltimore City. We know that the youth voice is always the most critical when we talk about doing things for the future. Ma'am?
Hello everyone and good morning. My name is Razia Rizada and I am from Afghanistan. My first language is Darren. I come to the US with my families and my school name is Ace. I'm going to 11th grade next year. Afghanistan is made up of different ethnic groups. due to some problem, we could not stay in our countries. We left our countries on August 2021 because the Taliban took over our countries, and we come to America in different ways. Before coming to America, I wanted to know about things like learning English, school rules, and living rules in the United States, and about the peoples and their cultures. I gained a lot of experience from my trips from Afghanistan to America, how to live in a foreign country, how to follow the rules, and how to make it our homes. We have the tradition we had in our countries, and our family are with us, and also we are living in a society where we can live without stress or harassment and without other problems. And it is very useful for us to come here because such an event is very useful for us, and we are the young generation, and we should do our best to help ourselves and the futures. And thank you to all yours to listen to me, and I wish you all success.
Thank you very much, everybody. Before we go over to do the most important thing today, we'll ask our friends in the media if they have questions. Because
I could have folks step up here to the mic so your colleagues
once we
can
start
get that.
signing and taking pictures, that's going to be a little hard. We're going to be celebrating. Ma'am?
Good morning.
Good
Does
morning.
MIMA offer services to anyone regardless of their immigration status?
Yes. Again, this is Baltimore. We are open for all Americans and people who want to come here and live in this city, live in our country, and do that the right way, right? We're going to continue to do that. I always have to, when we have questions like that, remind everyone that unless you're the descendants of indigenous people, which I just happen to be in part, your family were immigrants. And we also always have to be reminded that this country was built for free by my ancestors, who were forced immigrants into this country. So this whole movement around being anti-immigrant in this country is really anti-American, because when you think about what this country says it stands for, and bring me your poor, bring me all of these folks, and being a melting pot, this discussion on whether we should not allow people in is just ridiculous. Because if that were the case, then we would be having discussions about making sure that those who built this country for free and their families are being compensated for that financially.
The case in Hartford County. I know Baltimore City's detention center is run by the state, correct?
It is.
The city's policy when it comes to working with ICE and honoring detainers.
So again, we know that we don't run our detention centers. So we work with law enforcement. We have our policy around ICE that we are not going to just have people removed. We've had that policy for a long time. What happened in Hartford County is a tragedy. That person, that one person who committed that heinous act of crime is a criminal, is a despicable human being. But we cannot allow that one person to be judged to be a representation of every immigrant, right? And that came to this country in its history. Because again, if that were the case, if we were judging people, immigrants, based off the actions of one, you wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. None of us would be here because our indigenous brothers and sisters would have sent everybody home a very long time ago.
So what is the city's policy?
I've already answered that question. The policy has not changed in recent years, and it won't change as long as I'm here. Ma'am? Hold on, I think the mic went out. Sorry about that. Hold on, Jessica.
Can you hear me?
Now you're good.
There we go. I have some off-topic questions
Yeah,
about
you
the
got it.
officers who were, or BPD staff members who were reprimanded following Brooklyn Day. Just wanted to know what your reaction was to this and what you would like to say to the community about the response that day.
Well, first I'll say what I said that night, right? Before any media was there when I first arrived, that we, and said to the community, we were going to do a deep investigation and we're going to hold any and everybody responsible for anything that they did. I want to thank the PIB, also known as Internal Affairs, the ACC, and the DRC for their diligent approach to this investigation. The Brooklyn mass shooting has left deep scars for all of Baltimore, but especially that community in South Baltimore. And that was made clear by this investigation, that these things were preventable were it not for the inaction or missteps of folks who had a responsibility to protect the residents of that neighborhood, right? And that internal investigation and the consequences from that stand on that. I stand by the recommendations. They are fair. We have to hold people accountable. And as I said that night, we will hold folks accountable. And this, I hope, is another step in the healing process for the residents of Brooklyn. And I know that I've built relationships with so many of them over the last year that I'll be hearing directly from some of them today about what they think. But it's just another step in the accountability for what took place there. But it's very fair and very direct. We were not going to hold any punches or hold back. If people did things that they shouldn't have done or weren't supposed to be doing or didn't do what they should have been done, I said they were going to be held accountable, and now we have to go through the final step of that process.
Do you think these reprimands will prevent similar situations from possibly happening, or if there's another Brooklyn Day next week or something like that?
Well, we don't even want to put that into the atmosphere. But what I'll say is I hope that everyone, not just in BPD, but across city government, sees that if you don't do your job, you will be held accountable, period. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what agency you work in. If you don't do your job and we're able to, through investigation, find out that you didn't do your duty, that you knew you were supposed to be doing, this is going to happen to you. Mackenzie?
Same topic. When it comes to other agencies that were involved that day, do you believe that there should be disciplinary actions taken against other employees, specifically the Safe Streets workers who were there?
I think that we've already done that process, Mackenzie, and when you know that folks have a sworn duty to do things and that we know that those were ignored, we see this action. And if there's going to be further action and changes, we will be announcing that. We know that this has a process, as you know very well, a process through internal investigations and through PIB and AAC that is in law, that we have to follow a particular process. And if there are others, they will come. But as of right now, this is what we're talking about because we have went through that process and we've seen what we saw. And as you know, I can't go into further details because there is another step. But what the recommendations are very fair and are very, I think, responsive to what was done or not done.
Given what we saw come out in terms of the escalation policy that is now in place for Safe Streets workers, the fact that was not in place at the time of the Brooklyn Day shooting, knowing the intel that was not passed from Safe Streets workers to City Hall or to the Baltimore Police Department, should those Safe Streets workers face discipline if something like that were to happen again, given the protocols that are now in place?
If, right? And that's a big if. But I think that also you have to be reminded when you look at where the information for Brooklyn Day lied, right? We are not going to allow this to be made into a thing, Mackenzie, where it's like, oh, we're only going to focus on whether Safe Streets should be held accountable. This is about everybody. If anybody violates any policy that is on the books for city government, we will hold them accountable, period. Barry? Hold on, Barry. The light keeps going off. It just came back on. You're good.
Thank you. One of the things you just mentioned about hearing from them directly, you're talking about the people who live down in the Brooklyn area. Are you meeting with them? Can you elaborate on that? Are you meeting with them today? What's happening?
So I'll be there next week, but Barry, I have built a lot of relationships with individuals and families in Brooklyn homes since then. I talk to some of them more frequent than the others. I just saw some recently in Cherry Hill, and I know after this comes out today that some of them are going to reach out to me directly and tell me what they think in a very Brooklyn and Baltimore way. But my office, especially Monsi and we have spent a lot of time down there and spent a lot of time talking with those families in Brooklyn.
And you talked about healing. I'm just wondering about the families of the 2 victims who were killed and also the other people who were injured. What do you think this message says about now dealing with disciplinary action? What are you hoping it says?
That again, just like I said, that we will find individuals who were shooting and hold them accountable, which we know we've been through part of that process. I said that night and thereafter that we were going to do an investigation and find anybody involved in DPD and otherwise that did not stand up, and we were going to hold them accountable. I hope this sends the message to them that I was dead serious and I'm a man of my word, and that no matter who these individuals are within the department or otherwise, that we're going to hold them accountable. Sir? The guy's getting kind of tall over there, man.
Just started with WBAO Radio. The guaranteed income program that you discussed yesterday, the last payments are going to be next month.
Yep.
Any plans for that next chapter, anything with that in the future?
We'll see. I think that just and welcome, sir. I hope you're not coming from Pittsburgh. If you are, we have things to discuss, but that's later. We can talk about that. But I think I said this yesterday at the press conference. We have to think about what Mayors for Guaranteed Income as a program is about. It's about groups of mayors around the country doing these pilots for different parts of population so that we can make the case to our federal government that this is what we should be doing nationwide. Whether we have another pilot or some continuation is still left to be seen. Just stay tuned for that, right? Maybe we'll do another group, a focus group the next time. But what we have been able to accomplish with our guaranteed income pilot is that we see the success and what happens to allow families to raise themselves up. Mackenzie? Hold on. It was you this time. Nope. Hold. Green. Go ahead.
Okay. Just so I'm clear, when it comes to I know that the report today came from the Baltimore Police Department, but were any other city employees from Monzi or Safe Streets employees specifically disciplined?
So as of right now, we have not had any other. That does not mean it won't happen in the future. But this right now, we're talking about the BPD process and the things that were presented through the process of accountability that we passed by law.
From what you know and understand of what happened, should other employees be disciplined?
I would not talk about what would happen in an investigation out openly anyway, even if when I do know, Mackenzie.
Okay,
thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody. Let's sign the bill. And you guys don't have to sit down anymore. You can come close. Come on.